So good it hurts. I want it. I gotta have it. I can't find the words to love it. I don't like it. All out, turn the beat up. Hey now, I'm glad to meet ya. Turn up, girl, blow the speakers. Yeah, think about it now, blow the speakers. I'm free counter, let's get wild tonight. Been that bottles, we just tell them like ain't no problem. All my rules are right. Alright, alright. I like it, I love it. Got another coming in my budget. Got an anaconda in my trust it. Don't push it, don't push it. You're gonna hit it till a jackpot. That's right, wax on, baby, wax off. Act right, put it on the black card. On there, spin it, 'cause I don't like it. I love it, love it, love it. Oh, so good it hurts. I want it. I gotta have it. I can't find the words to love it. I don't all night, let me groove ya. Dance when we turn down for who, girl? Another running, but step the moves up. Yeah, but that around need a measure of ruler. Celebrate life and love pay for it. Like a body nice next to my top boy. Get a party all night, let's all on board. Let's all aboard, all aboard. I like it, I love it. And the other girls they can't touch it. Competition, that's a whole nother subject. I wanna walk it out in public. You saw, baby, just know. Let's go to the mansion of the condo.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Teams Tips. We are so excited to have you join us yet again. If this is your first session, I'm Amanda Pritchard, and I have the delight of serving in the Office of Information Technology, and we have been hosting these throughout the summer and fall. So if you've missed any of them, you can always catch us on our YouTube channel and rewatch any of our previous sessions. This is number 21 for us, and it is the final Teams Tips of the 2020 year. At the end of today's session, you're going to receive a survey link, which if you've joined us before, you get those at the end of all of our sessions. And this one, I want you to pay close attention and be sure to complete it because we have a couple of options in there that we want you to select for spring. It is our hope and our goal that we're here to serve you and to meet your needs. And the best way to do that is to ensure that we're training you on the materials that you most need. So if you would, please complete that survey, and at the end, you'll get to vote on what you'd like to see in the future. So today's training is going to be on 2 parts. The first one, Brian Sherwood is here. He's been on several of these, so I'm sure you're familiar with him by now. He's going to go over To Do. And To Do is simply a quick task list. It's something that you can use in Teams. You can organize your thoughts and your processes in case you want to stray away from your trusted notepad. So To Do is what Brian's going to be covered. And then we got so much feedback on our Twitter poll and from previous surveys that we were requested to train on Sway. So we're also going to be training, I'll be hosting and showing everybody how to use Sway, which is just a quick way to put together presentations. So you don't have to be a designer to be able to do it. It handles the designs for you. So before we start, if you haven't already, we've posted a quick chat in the Q&A, which is in the upper right-hand corner. If you will navigate there and please just like that post, that's simply letting us know that you're able to get there, that you're able to interact with us. If you have questions throughout today's session, that's where you would submit your question. If you have comments, you can also submit them there. But we'll be reviewing those at designated times. We'll stop and take your questions and be sure that you're able to follow along. So please post and interact with us there, and we'll be sure to follow up with you. In the bottom right-hand corner of Teams Live, you also are able to activate closed captioning. So if you'd like to activate that, you can turn that on now. We do have that enabled. And I wanted to share with you something else that I had mentioned to somebody and they were unfamiliar with this. The beauty of Teams Live is that you can pause and rewind. It's kind of like your DVR. So if there's a point that you need to go back and rewatch something that we just said, now that you've joined, you're able to pause and to navigate back and forth within today's session. So feel free to try it out, scooch around a little bit, and get familiar with the event. But I'll go ahead and introduce a man who shares my affinity for elf culture, Brian Sherwood, the assistant manager of the help desk, and he's going to go over To-Do.
I know I'm muted. It's okay. You know, I'll get this right in 2021. We're going to leave that behind and get being muted. So thank you, Amanda, and excited to be here with everyone for our last Teams Tips of 2020. I'm going to talk a little bit today about Microsoft To-Do and what it can do for you to help organize tasks across Microsoft 365 products. So I'm going to go ahead and have Amanda share my screen. Maybe, or, yep. We're going. Cool.
I was excited reading the comments. I'm sorry. I get distracted easily, as we all know. There you go.
All right, awesome. So we're excited to show you some parts of Microsoft To-Do today. Microsoft To-Do has a couple of different areas where you can get to see tasks that are assigned to you and be able to organize them and keep tabs on them, if you will. Now, when I first opened my To-Do today, this little screen popped up, so I wanted to leave it open to just talk about a couple of the high components of Microsoft To-Do. If you've ever used tasks in Outlook, To-Do took tasks and took it to the next level. So you'll now have smart lists like My Day, things that you've marked important and planned so that you can set specific days in the future for those tasks to happen. You also can collaborate on lists. So if you have a to-do list maybe for your small team or your department and you want to collaborate on that with others, you're able to do that. And like many of the Microsoft 365 products, there is a mobile app as well that you can use to access To-Do if you need to do that on the go, or if you're working from home and want to have it on another device like so many of us are. So I'll go ahead and show just a couple of the components of tasks that are in To-Do. Now this interface that I'm in right now it's just the To-Do web interface. So if you go to office.com, you're going to be able to see the little blue check mark, and that is going to be Microsoft To-Do, and you'll get to a screen that looks somewhat like this. When you get here, you're going to be able to see your main home, which is just your main task list. Now, this is important because this main task list is going to show up in a couple of different places, one of which is, of course, the To-Do web application. But the other is that if you use Outlook on the web, or even if you're using the full version of Outlook for Windows or Mac, when you see your task list, that is your main home tasks list. So you'll see here, I have it shown on the right, and it shows my tasks that I have on this list. And it's the same list that shows here in the full To-Do environment. Now, when I'm in the full To-Do environment, I'm able to do other things to my tasks, including add a reminder. So I can set this, and you can see it's recommending some smart reminders. So maybe I want to set this for tomorrow at 9 o'clock. I also can go ahead and set a due date. So I'm going to just set that as due next week. And I even can set a task to repeat. So maybe if it's something that you do on a weekly basis or maybe on a monthly basis, you're able to add that repeating task here as well. Now you're kind of like Team Tips, yeah, that we'll be doing again in the spring. So we've got our categories here as well. So you'll be able to categorize your tasks. Now these categories, unlike in other parts of Teams, are not fully customizable, but you are able to pick from the different categories that are the colors that are listed here, and you can know which category you use for which thing. You can do that. And then you can also add files, so you can attach things to your tasks as well if you want to add a Word doc or something like that. And of course, there's a more complete description box if you want to add a link maybe to a file in your OneDrive. Now, this is the really simple part, is this main tasks list. But what's great about this is that you're able to add this component to other lists as well. And so you'll see down here, I have the option to create a new list. So let's say I wanted to create a Teams Tips list. So I can go ahead and call that one Teams Tips. And now these tasks are being kept totally separate. So I know that they're all related to Teams Tips. So I can add, pick out music for January's Teams Tips, because we know that that's a high priority for Amanda. So we'll go ahead and categorize that as red. And then I could add other things like review, survey results from December's team's tips. Now this is great for me. I've been able to add all these to this particular category or to this list in To Do. But I also can go ahead and share this. So I can click on share. I can create an invitation link, and I can send this to whoever I need to who I want to be added to this list. As soon as you enable sharing on the list, you'll see these two people. So you always know if what you're creating is private, personal on your To Do account, or if it's being shared with other members of that list as well. Now, one of the things that we might get questions on here is about Planner versus To Do. Planner and To Do are actually connected. So if you haven't already used Planner, I highly recommend you go back and watch our team's tips that we did on Microsoft Planner. Planner is a great way to organize tasks on a team in different buckets. It's a great tool to be able to use. You can see what that looks like here. But what's great about To Do is that these tasks also appear here inside of your To Do interface as well. So you can see that all of these tasks that are listed here are coming from Planner. The due dates come over from Planner. I know that they're assigned to me in Planner, and I can look at them all in this single easy to use interface. Now, of course, the other thing that a lot of us do is use email. And so sometimes you'll want to create tasks from an email message. Again, if you're a longtime Outlook user, you may have used what's called flagging an email, which basically puts it on a list for you to follow back up on. What's great about this, and now that our email is in the cloud, in the Office 365 cloud, is when I flag an email here in my Outlook interface, whether I do it on the Outlook mobile app, on the Outlook web client, or in the full Outlook application, I'm going to see it appear in my flagged email section of To Do. And so I now have this right here. I can click it. It's going to show that it came from Outlook. It's even going to show some content of the message and give me a direct link where I can open it in my full Outlook application if I'd like. So that's another place now that I'm going to be able to bring in more content into my To Do. Now, another great thing about To Do is called the My Day Smart List. And I mentioned this briefly at the beginning, but I want to show you a little bit how this works. Microsoft's vision for this is that you would come in to start your workday and you would come to your To Do to start with. So you'd look at your To Do list and you'd go, okay, I know I have these things that were due yesterday. I know that I have some stuff that I just added from my flagged email yesterday that I need to work on. I'm going to go ahead and start adding things to the My Day task list. So I just go ahead and click here. You can see it's recommending these things. I can pull from all different parts. There's this that I added from the Teams Tips shared list, so I can add that as well. And so this is going to build a task list for me just to use today and to kind of work through my day here. Once I'm done here, I can go ahead and go back to this list and I can start marking things complete as I move through the list. I can click and open them up for more detail if I need to do that. Once I mark them complete, if they're live in Planner, it's going to go ahead and mark it complete in Planner. If I flagged it in my email, it's going to mark it as complete in my email. It's great because you're able to do all of that from this one single interface. Now, the next logical question is, a lot of times we don't get everything done on our to-do list in the day that we want to get it done, right? So what's great about this is that it's going to keep all of those tasks that you had, but it's going to remove them from your My Day list. Because if you're anything like me, your Mondays and your Tuesdays look very different from one another. And so you might have more meetings on one day than another, and you may not want to add all of the things that you didn't get done on Monday automatically to Tuesday's list. But they will still appear. You'll come in Wednesday morning and you're going to have a fresh list here inside of To Do. You'll see that same suggestions list, and anything that you didn't complete yesterday is still going to be waiting here for you to either add or not add to your My Day list for that next day. So it's a great way to kind of manage your time. You're also able to quickly mark tasks as important, and you'll notice that that's the one we haven't looked at over here that shows as important. Anything that's marked as important will show here. It's as simple as starring it, and again, you can do that across the board on any of the tasks lists that you might have there. So To Do is available both in this web application, as I mentioned. There's also a Windows application that's available, so you can have it as its own application in your computer. And then the other place that you can get to this is inside of Teams. So it wouldn't be Teams Tips if we didn't head back to Teams to check it out there as well. If you haven't on this left app rail checked out the Tasks by Planner and To Do application, if you don't see that, no big deal. Just click on the three dots. You all are used to that by now. and search for tasks in this list, and you'll see that tasks by planner and to do. And you can even pin it to your sidebar if you want to do that. You're going to be able to see those tasks right here inside of Teams. You'll see those shared plans. That's what's coming from Planner. So you'll see those tasks there as well. Any shared lists that you might be a part of are going to show up here. And then, of course, anything that's assigned to you will be here as well. And you'll notice my Teams Tips shared list just took a second, and Teams realized that there's another list that I might want, and I can take action on these directly from inside of the Teams client. Again, from all of your different Microsoft 365 applications, you're able to access these. So I'm going to pause there. I know I went through a lot of content. Amanda, do we have any questions?
We do actually have a couple of questions that came
Great.
in. Katrina was asking, when you set a reminder for your to-do list, will that reminder display in your normal Outlook if you're using the desktop application?
Good question. Yeah. So if you are using the regular Outlook desktop application, you're only going to see the tasks that are in your home task list currently. I know they are working to add additional integrations between To-Do and Outlook, the Outlook app on your computer, but right now you're only going to see that task list synced.
Okay, and then my friend Dennis asked, is there a Mac standalone app for To-Do? Something just for Macs?
Yes, good question. And I believe the answer to that is that yes, there is a Mac OS application available in the App Store. So Android, Mac, and from the Windows Store as well, there's an application available for To-Do, so you can do it on any application. And of course, in the web browser, if you're maybe you use Linux or something like that, there's obviously the web browser available too.
Okay, one more question. What's the first thing that elves learn in school?
Oh my gosh.
The alphabet?
I thought you were really going to test me on some elf movie knowledge or something. I was like racking my brain, like, did I miss that in the movie? What the heck?
No, sorry, just had to throw that one in there. Do you have more to show us on To-Do?
I think that that's it, but I will keep an eye on our Q&A as you move into Sway, and if folks have more questions, feel free to put those in there, and yeah, I'll pass it to you, Amanda.
Awesome. All right, I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen. And somebody keep count. I hope you're keeping count of the number of reindeer antlers. That might be a bonus question for later. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about Sway. I know we've talked about PowerPoint Live in the past, and this is just another way to kind of streamline and make it easier for you to create presentations without having to have a background in design or layout. Sway is a way that will do it easily for you. So I'm showing you my main opening screen here because if you'll recall, we get to everything that we're showing you is office.com. So if you go to office.com, you do have to log in with your net ID and password in order to get access, okay? So if you go in there, you'll see, and I'm sorry, I'm looking at another screen. I'm not as talented as Brian since I'm managing the live event too. So you do have to pull it up, and Sway is, for me, it's down at the bottom here, and there's a little icon after you're logged in so that you can get onto Sway. So before I actually walk you through the how to add and what to build it in, I thought it was better to show you one that I've already built, just so that you can see what it looks like on screen. So it takes your pictures, it takes your content, and it designs a layout for you, and it puts it into a website format. So there's a lot of benefits to that. Anytime you've had a big presentation, if you've tried to share it via email or even, Box, it takes a long time for something that size to upload. And so the great thing about this is that you can still collaborate, you can still have several people editing it and tweaking it, but it will show up in a web format for you. And y'all, I spent a whole, I think, 15 minutes building this out. So I'm sure if you wanted to spend more time on it, you can make it look even better. But I just wanted to show you this. You can make it scroll horizontally or vertically, and it will give you the options of viewing it on the web and by mobile. So you can make sure that everything you're putting together looks and feels great. So I just put on here, this is Microsoft Sway, that's my subheader. I put in an image, that's our agenda for today. So you can make sure that you can use this for classes for students to follow through. You can use this for presentations, for events. If you're trying to put together a large event and you want to host multiple pieces of content, you can embed video, images, and text. So this embeds all sorts of things all in one easy to use platform. So as you continue to scroll, I just happen to make this one go side to side because that's what worked best for my layout. You can go side to side and you put in your titles and your subtitles however you want it. It's going to format it for you, so you don't have to worry about, like in PowerPoint, sizing things just right and getting it in just the perfect spot. It's going to do that absolutely for you. One thing that I thought was super fun is that it allows you to have a little bit more visualization to your talk. So you can see here, we've made a couple of little flashcards. This is actually called a stack. So in this stack, you can click on each individual card and another one underneath it will appear. So if you have very quick repetitive content, you can very quickly go through all of that. So I just was showing a couple of different options. You can put in whatever phrasing, whatever sizing, you can bold, you can minimize, but there's just some fun ways. And what's that? A QR code. So I think if you've attended a past Teams Tips, you'll probably be familiar with what to do. If you don't have your smartphone attached to your body like a true millennial, go get it. But go ahead and open up your camera on your smartphone. And Brizeta is going to post in the announcements if you don't have your smartphone on you. But open up your camera. You don't have to actually take a picture of this. You just hold it in front of the screen and it's going to pull it up in your browser. We just have a quick fun poll for y'all to be completing. And I'll show that to y'all a little bit later while you're completing that out. But I wanted to show you this and while you're filling that out, because this is an easy way to keep people engaged when you're doing a presentation. You don't have to be limited to PowerPoint and what it can do. You can embed fun and engaging things within your presentation. So this QR code is the little black and white code, and that's what you hover your camera over on your phone, and it will pull open the website, and it's Mentimeter, and you're able to select your options from there. Fun poll, and be able to submit that. And in just a minute, we'll be able to see all those results. So, and that's also going to be posted in the chat in case you haven't done that. So it's still on screen. I'm just going to be scrolling over a little bit. So you can still see it there. It's part of that stack. And the nice thing is too, if you need it, and if you're a viewer, and if you need something enlarged, you can select the little grow icon and it will appear full screen for you. So it makes all of your content accessible for anyone. Okay, so this stack with the QR code is a smaller display. And then the one on the right is a slightly larger. So you can see, I'm going away from the QR code. I hope everybody's okay, but it's in the announcements too, so I'm scrolling away. But your stacks can be presented in different sizes. So if you have some sort of information that you want to make a bigger announcement with a bigger emphasis, then you can do that there. So you can scroll through. Again, just like those other flashcards, and you can add pictures to these as well. So it's just truly however you want to present material. And if you forget something, you can go back and forth because it's all web-based. So here I've put a picture. We're going to be using that picture, and a lucky winner will be getting to win some of this swag that we have put together from one of our partners that has donated this material. Microsoft is so excited that you all are taking the time to invest in these trainings that they've put together some little swag bags for y'all. So we're going to have a winner announced in just a minute, and we'll get to mail that through Campus Mail to you. But you can see here that you can add images to your stack, anything to make any kind of an impact. And you can also do lists. So if there's anything checklist wise, if you want to pull that to-do list out and put your important things on there, you're also able to do that. Okay, Are we ready to spin to win? I think so. All right. So I've embedded this link in here. I've already got it pulled up too, just as a backup, just in case, to make sure this loads properly. So we're going to spin the wheel, and if your name is pulled up, Rosetta is going to write it down and record the fact that you won one of our little giveaways today for taking the time to come to Teams Tips. All right. Catherine is our winner. So if you're here watching, if you'll just post in the chat. And what do you think, Brian? Should we do a few more?
I think it's the season of giving, Amanda. Don't you agree?
Okay, I think absolutely. Let's do another one here. Oh, Dave Finner, look at you getting the swag. I'm so excited for you. Okay, we'll do one more because it's really fun to watch it spin. And don't worry, I did remove Brian and I's names from this, so there's no way that we can win. Brian, you're already a winner in my book. Okay, let's see. Valerie! Yay! Congratulations, Valerie! So exciting. Okay, isn't that super fun? And I don't think was the sound on for y'all, or did I not have it on?
It wasn't on.
It was just a party up here. Okay, fantastic. That's usually the way it goes. If I had the sound on for y'all, you would have heard the cheering and clapping for y'all too. So you can just imagine that. So. But that's just kind of a fun way that you can embed links and engage with your audience by using Sway. So very, very easy to use. And then I just went ahead and put in, again, just because I wanted you all to be able to see it, but you could put in videos, embed a video, be able to have your audience watch that. Pause that. You can put in pictures. And if you don't already know about it, Campus Communicators is a team in Microsoft Teams for all of us who plan events and meetings and might want a little bit of extra help or run into some ideas like this spinner, which I took from another team who had that as an idea and were willing to share that with me. So if you would like to be a part of that group, send me a little chat. You can either do it on this event or to me directly, but it's a great way to encourage and empower each other as we're away by sharing these ideas and just different things that come up. Okay, so we'll go ahead and move along. Another thing that you can do is you can show a specific grid. So if you have certain content that you just need to kind of break up into pieces, you can put it into smaller stacks, which is like what we did earlier, those little flashcards, but this can be shown as a grid in case you have a certain size or a certain order that you want your content in. And I think everybody already knows that forms is one of my favorite things. I absolutely love it. So this makes me really excited when I could see that our form, our survey that I built through Microsoft Forms was able to be put in here as well. And so you can, from the website, which you can't do it now because this is Teams Live. If you normally, I know, everyone's like, but if you have a meeting, then you would be able to, from that meeting, you could be getting and receiving these notifications through Forms. As people are completing your survey, they could go in and do it through this web-based form, which embeds your full-size form. They can scroll, and here is the content I was already telling you, little preview that you want to vote on what's coming up. You can pick those, and you can let us know if we made it to the naughty or nice list, which I think we could all use that feedback. You know, it's a toss-up right now. So forms can be completely embedded in there. And then you can continue to scroll. Again, if you want to just go ahead and have this up, if you just can't wait to give some more feedback, you can go ahead and take a picture. But I wanted to show you just kind of the behind the scenes of Sway, of me building this one before we go in. So I'm going to look, Brian, really quickly. Did we have any major questions that have come up?
Amanda, we did have one question, and hopefully you can kind of explain how you use these two different tools. So I know you use the other surveying tool, and I'm blanking on its name right now, but the question was, why did you choose that over Microsoft Forms? And I guess could you expand on like the differences between those?
Absolutely. So the Mentimeter, I think, is probably what you're referencing. So Mentimeter just can do a few things that I think Forms eventually will do that they're working on building out, but they're not able to do everything that Forms can just yet. So I used it just to give a little variety. I think it's important to show that there's a wide array of tools that are out there, and it's good to have a little bit of variety and to use just the different things that are available to keep people engaged. The Mentimeter has one of my favorites is the word cloud availability, which a lot of these online polls do. I fully feel like Microsoft Forms is on the road to do that. It's just not there yet. And their color scheme can be just a little bit different. And so don't worry, Forms is still here, y'all. I still included it in the presentation. I just tried one more thing just to add a little variety. Okay, I'm still a Microsoft girl. Any other questions?
There was a question about how did you make the video, and I'm not sure which video they were referring to, but you might know. And what platform did you use to make it?
So everybody wants to steal my design ideas? Is that what that's what I'm hearing?
I guess so.
I've built the videos a couple of different ways. So those I've started calling them our what do I call them? I lost it, Brian. Our grand opening videos. That's what it is. That's what I call them as part of the team, just because I think that the video just makes it a little bit more engaging and having that visual stimulus. So I use different platforms, but the one that I use is I have a subscription elsewhere to Canva and build it there, which is a great platform. But then I also have a couple of prescriptions. Maybe, but that's not what I meant to say. Subscriptions is also what I have, and I have that to several graphic places so I can download and export pre-built videos and that sort of thing. And I think that helps. You in no way have to reinvent the wheel. There's so much content already built out there, and if you know a little bit of design, you can alter colors and move things around. And so that's usually what I do is I just change the time lapse or change the color scheme a little bit to make it Teams Tipsified. Is that, yeah, that works. Okay. All right, we'll go ahead and move on then and go a little bit further behind the scenes. So I showed you what one looks like when you build out your presentation and how that looks and feels. But Sway can do a couple of other things. So I wanted to show you really quickly, if you already have a document built, you can start from a document and upload a specific document. And I've got one that I went ahead and pulled. This is just a planning document that I had already built out. So it pulled in the content for me. So you can see I just uploaded my PDF and it went ahead and separated it out as best as it could. And then from there, you can go on and edit. So before I show you editing, I just want to show you this was it. And depending on your PDF, how stylized it is, which if you're familiar with mine, I like they're highly stylized. It's a little bit harder for it to convert because this is meant to be, if you have no design, what it will convert to. So watch this, y'all. It just took it, it decided its own background, its own kind of layout. And so it's not going the side to side. We're not horizontal. This is a vertical scrolling now that you can see. So it took it and this is a really long document. I have a lot of words. So you can see that it just pulled it on here and a fairly easy to read, very accessible method and put it all together for us. So you don't have to build in Sway. You can just upload a document you already have that already exists and it will do it for you, which I think is absolutely amazing. And then also, one more thing, and then I swear we're going to get behind the scenes here. I took a presentation that I had already developed for our Accessibility in Action event that we had earlier this year. It was all about accessibility. And I had all my slides saved. So I went ahead and uploaded them as images, and it put together this website for us. So you can see everything's nicely laid out. It's very colorful. You can just kind of pick on each individual slide, and it'll pull up that content for you as you kind of navigate around that workspace. But if you have a big presentation or a big file that's really difficult to share, this is such an easy way to go in and to be able to share that content. So we'll go ahead and play around a little bit with Sway on the back end, just so you can see if you're building it from scratch, what that would look like. So again, I've already logged into Office. I'm already did my NetID, password, Duo, all of that authentication on the back end. So if you want to start from absolute scratch, you can build a new blank Sway. So we'll go ahead and get that pulled up here, and it'll cue you. You have to type in the box though. You do have to do that much. Okay, so type in the box and you can fill in your content just as you're going. So it'll pull up your initial one, and then what you do to add any additional content is the big plus button. So it's a lot of this intuitive action, kind of like Microsoft Forms, where it just builds it along for you and it tells you the exact flow that you need to go to develop it. So you can pick if you want a heading, a text, if you have images. Stacked are those cards that I built in there. So it just adds additional layers. I didn't pre-write any of this, you guys, so we're just gonna type it. But you can see how it's put this as a group. Do you see the gray background around it? That's highlighting this as a stack. So you can see that when it displays, and to see it on display, you could just press play, and it picks the backgrounds. Yes, you have the ability to change that. It just picks whatever it thinks would be best based on the content you've already submitted. But you can just flip through and make sure your content's coming across as desired. To edit, you would select the edit button, and that brings you back into the design side here where you're developing your actual content. So you can continue on. Let's see. Ooh, food. Yes. Adding your images. You can pull up from a Bing search. You can pull up from something that you have saved on your desktop, wherever you have content. So you can pull your custom images or pull from just a search. Let's see. I don't like fish, so we're not going to go with that one. Do some fruit. That's good. So again, you can pull any random things that you want, and it's going to determine what works best for your presentation. At any time you want to test it out and see what it looks like, you just press the play button. And so you can see if you take more time than what I just did, which is 3 seconds to select pictures, you can put together a very nice looking presentation very quickly in an easy layout. And again, you can supersize these so that anybody can see them if they need access to it. So we'll go back here in our edit, and I'm just going to highlight a few of the options that you have here. So you can emphasize, which is bold, accent, which is italicized. I'm not sure where the gap was in communicating those, but that's what they mean. Then there's bullets and numbers. You can, again, embed a link. That's how we did the really fun drawing. So if you want a prize, yay you. So you can do all of those things there. You can insert images and videos as well. If you have a background, if you have a specific theme for your particular Sway, a graphic that you want to use, you can look under suggested, because it's going to pull based on what you already searched. You can pull something from your device or from a number of other albums that are online. And you can certainly pick up if you have a certain topic. All right. No, I didn't. Yes, I did. Yeah. You can pull up any images that you want to and pull it in here. So it's just a matter of adding until you feel like you're done. And if you do see something that you realize that you want to move, it's a matter of clicking on that image and just dragging and dropping, which is a lot like they've designed Microsoft Forms. It's just a quick move, so you can relocate any of your content that you want and have it lay out the way that you would like it. So I'm going to pause really quick and just see, Brian, have any questions on the basic, what's called the storyline?
Amanda, no questions on the storyline, but I am going to ask you to jump back to when you showed the sway that you had created with a presentation you had already created before. That was done by exporting those slides as images, is that correct? And then importing those images into your new sway?
Yeah, so you can actually, that's a great clarification. You can do it either way. I just happened to, so you can start from a document and you can pull up a PDF. Again, a lot of mine are really stylized, so I recommend just bare bones. Use the basic stuff. Mine are already pre-designed. But I had this one. This was a PowerPoint presentation that I created. And since I design all of the PowerPoints and all of the videos and the things that we do, I design all of those. So I export them as JPEGs because I have what we call compassionate control. And I like it to look and feel a certain way. And so I export those as images, and so that's what I embed into the PowerPoint. So that's just how I use PowerPoint. That's my personal practice. It's not something you have to do. If you just have a PowerPoint presentation, you could certainly upload it here and it would do the same conversion for you. It'll pull things, and then if you see something and you're like, oh, you know what, this one's in the past, I don't want that one there anymore. You just hover over it and delete it. It's very easy. So because mine were images, it went ahead and put them as these little cards, and it sized them the way it felt would be the best way to share that information with the audience. So hopefully that helped clarify. But you can, if you have a bunch of pictures already done, if you have a PowerPoint, a PDF, a Word document, it'll pull it up. Now, I will say, depending on what it is and how stylized it is, it's going to pull that content it's a little quirky. So you may have to edit just a little bit and tweak it the way that you want to.
Great. The only other thing that was requested is when you go back to start showing more inside of Sway, that you zoom in just a little bit more.
Really? Okay. How's that? It's a big avocado?
That looks great.
Okay. Wonderful. Hopefully that's better. Sorry. And it does look a little bit blurry on the screen that I'm seeing it too. So hopefully it's coming across okay to everybody else. Okay. So moving along, again, you can move and maneuver sections however you want. You can add your bulleted list. How do you spell it? I don't know. It's a mystery. So you can put in your bulleted list, play it, and look, it's changed it again because I have the big background image. So it's going to pull the content in the way that it thinks it can make the most sense. So you can edit anything that's in here, move it around. You can also change your stack sizing by selecting these little boxes, that's small, medium, and large. And if you have a certain point in your picture that's critical to show, then you're able to do that by selecting the actual image. And you can select, let's say, really talking a lot about celery, so you can select that as your focal point and it will focus in on that part of your image for you. So again, it just kind of takes all of that thinking out of it. So I'm going to check my little cheat sheet and make sure. Okay, so we talked about adding cards, putting in content. And then with any of these too, you can decide how you want it to come across. If you want it emphasized, which is bold, accent, which is italicized, then you can go ahead and change it there. The nice thing that I mentioned earlier is that you're able to share this. So if you're familiar with forms, this is going to look really familiar to you as well, because you can share it with specific people. So anybody out there in the world, or only those within our organization that's within UTD, which means you do have to log in and authenticate, or you can share it just by sharing it to the link. You can invite them to view it or to edit it. And then you can also embed it somewhere. So if you want to build one of these and have it as a subset within your website, that's an option for you. And then I was just going to go over these. Microsoft, the 3 little dots always means more information. So anytime you see those 3 little dots, go look for more information because there's going to be something there for you to gather. So you can look here, and that's a quick link to just create new. You can duplicate it or save it as a template. If there's a presentation that you give with regularity that you know just needs a little bit of a tweak, you're able to go there and duplicate it. Okay, and then there's also accessibility checker and view to make sure that everybody who receives this presentation will be able to see it and access your content appropriately. Okay, any other questions so far, Brian? I don't think so. Okay.
No other questions, no?
We're gonna do one more spin because I feel like it's fun. I feel like it's an appropriate break. Let's see. Oh, Ansel was so close to you. James! I wish I had my audio on for y'all because there's like an air horn that goes off. It's all very exciting. So James, if you're with us, go ahead and post in the chat so we can know to get you your prize. And we'll do one more just to see who else can get it. Oh, Susan, congratulations. So exciting. Okay, Susan, you get a prize. You get a prize, you get a prize. Everybody gets a prize. Congratulations, y'all. Okay, I'm trying to see what else. Going back and forth. So sorry, that was probably a little too much. I lost the one I was actually working on, this one. So real quick, as we're wrapping up, I'll just go ahead and show you some of the styles too. So if you don't like this sandy brown background, you can change that in Sway. You can determine all of the different color schemes, and it's just a matter of clicking on your options. There's lots more with this little arrow button, depending on whatever colors that you prefer, or if it goes with some of your marketing and that sort of thing that you already have. So it just takes a lot of the thinking and processing out of it. And then you can, if you have a certain typeface, certain colors, if you want it to be UTD-ified, then you can go ahead and do that in here as well. By selecting the different backgrounds that you like. So you can select one and you'll see that the layout changes based on what you select. So let's see here. I think I've covered just about everything in Sway. It's really just an introduction to get you used to it. And then you can change, I think I mentioned your different scrolling techniques, going up and down, depending on how you want it. But you take the content that you have, you don't have to put in a lot of prep time and effort into it. You take what you've got, throw it all in there. It's just this beautiful blender of technology, and it does it for you. So it doesn't require a lot of extra work on your behalf. Okay, Brian, any other questions? Is everybody being quiet?
No, we've got two questions for you, Amanda. So the first one is, can you use Sway on a desktop, or is there some way to export that file to be used on the desktop, or to back up on a desktop?
To back up on a desktop. Well, the beauty of it being online is you can absolutely download and export what you've created by going to the little three dots. That's your magic, find your way, and you are able to export your Sway either as a Word or PDF. That's kind of all it has. But since this is web-based, everything is online, you're able to pull that link and copy it and share it with anybody else that you want to see, or to collaborate. You can choose if they want to edit. If they don't like this picture of an avocado and they want a different one, then they can do that. And they'll be able to switch it around based on their preferences. So yes, you can export it, but just as a Word or PDF, those are the only options right now if you don't want to use it as a browser.
Awesome. And the last question that I have here is asking how you would add the UTD logo to your Sway.
So that would just be a part of adding it to your pictures in your storyline. So right here where I added this individual picture, you could go in, and I'll delete this one, and you could add the logo there. And so you would just pull it up have it on your desktop or in your files, and you could pull it up, select it, and it would pull it in there. And so then again, to see what it decides it looks like, so you can see right there, I need to work on that because that's really not the best preview of how I want that. But since I added it as a logo, it is just a little picture up there. So you could tweak it and edit it accordingly, depending on how big you want it to come across. But yes, you can still customize this, and even within when you're editing the background and picking the layout, you can change it to your custom colors. And if you have a set font that you want to use, you can do that as well. Anything else? Okay, well, let me get back to this one and refresh here. Any other questions before we finish, y'all? Anything else on to do? You just feel so confident and capable? I love it. So I'm going to pull up our survey, and I believe Rosetta is going to post it as well. That looks like it's cut off. Let me try refreshing. I've got too many sways open. I'm going to go ahead and pull up our closing survey because, like I said, we would love to get your feedback to have an idea of what we need to do in the future. That looks like it's cutting it off to me, but I can't tell. Maybe because I'm zoomed in, Brian. Yeah, maybe. Da-da-da-da. Okay, perfect. Oh, we did get one other question, Brian. I think it's for you, though. What kind of money do elves use?
What kind of money do elves use? I don't know. What kind of money do elves use?
Jingle bells. I know, too much, too much.
Great, that's great.
All right. Well, I think this is a record that we're actually closing a little bit early. So that's number 21 for y'all. Thank you so much for attending and for faithfully coming to these. Please do scan this QR code. You can scan it using your smartphone, or there's the link in the announcements where you can kind of go through there and directly connect to that. You're going to tell us, one, how we did, how we can improve, and how we can support you in the future moving forward as we plan for spring semester. Please remember, we are here to help. It is our goal to partner with you and to provide you with the resources that you need to be successful. The tools that we went over today, by no means are you an expert in, or do you have to be. They're just an introduction, and we want you to take what you learned and be able to go and practice it on your own, because practice makes progress. You don't have to be perfect at any of this. Just continue to learn and to thrive just as you do every single day. Even if it's just a 1% improvement, you're improving. Please remember, y'all are awesome, and we're here to help. Thanks so much. See you next year.